Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook Moments. Have you ever watched something that has almost no big dialogue, no dramatic scenes, no emotional explosions, yet somehow leaves your chest feeling full? As if something is gently pressing from the inside, not because of what you see, but because of what you feel. The latest episodes of Are You Sure do exactly that. They are not loud, not flashy. They don't try to captivate in an aggressive way. And yet, slowly, the show draws us into a quiet space. A space where every glance, every small movement, even every silence shared by Jimin and Jungkook speaks louder than words. This is not about what they say, but about how they exist together. About a quiet intimacy that does not ask to be believed, does not try to explain itself, yet somehow feels impossible to ignore. If you've ever felt that, there's something there whenever Jimin and Jungkook simply sit side by side without saying much, then this story is for you. These episodes gently guide us into a kind of calm that we rarely encounter on screen. There are no emotional outbursts, no grand dialogue. What exists is presence, a simple togetherness that feels heavy with meaning. Their small moments don't try to look important, yet precisely because of that, they feel far deeper than ordinary scenes. The silence they share has its own way of working. It slips in without warning, warms your chest, and then stays. A sense of comfort grows slowly, as if we are witnessing something that should be private, yet is sincerely allowed to be seen. Not to be judged, not to be justified. Just that it is there that we find the softest and most honest side of Jikook so far. A closeness that does not seek validation, does not ask for recognition, does not try to convince anyone. It exists as it is, calm, natural, and full of safety. Like two souls who have known each other for a long time, who no longer need words to understand one another. They share space, share time, even share silence without the slightest trace of awkwardness. This is not a closeness meant to be put on display, nor an intimacy built for the camera. Quite the opposite. This is quiet intimacy. The kind that is hardest to fake, and therefore the hardest to ignore. In brief glances not held for long, in distances that are incredibly close yet feel safe, in small movements barely noticed, there lies a trust that can only grow from long togetherness. So many things go unspoken, yet feel unmistakably clear. A story told not through dialogue, but through presence. And perhaps that is what makes these moments so unforgettable. We don't just watch them, we feel them. As if, without realizing it, we are invited to become witnesses to something real, warm, and deeply human. There is one pattern that almost always appears whenever Jimin and Jungkook are together. A pattern so familiar that fans can predict it even before it fully unfolds. Jimin comes in with an idea that sounds impossible, spontaneous, reckless, often defying logic. And Jungkook? He sighs, furrows his brow, complains for a moment, and then follows anyway. This time, the idea truly defied reason, standing upside down on a kayak, a small boat floating on water that can't be fully predicted. To anyone still holding on to basic logic, it sounded like an invitation to chaos. Stand upside down here? Jimin asked innocently, his eyes sparkling like a child who had just discovered a new game. No way. Jungkook answered quickly, pure reflex, his survival instincts working perfectly. Want to see? Jimin challenged. And that's where everything changed. A brief pause. Eyes meeting. Jimin's mischievous smile. Jungkook's expression caught somewhere between this is insane and but it's Jimin. He knows how stories like this usually end. He could refuse, stay rational but he also knows one other thing. When Jimin smiles like that, it's as if the world loses its stop button. This is their most endearing dynamic. Jimin as the spark of sweet chaos, living off spontaneity and small acts of courage. Jungkook as the loyal follower who pretends to be rational, even though his heart has already moved ahead. He may say, no way, but his body is already preparing. And before he fully realizes it, he's right behind Jimin, ready to fall, ready to laugh, ready to join the madness. Not because he doesn't know the risks, but because with Jimin, even the craziest ideas feel worth trying. And true enough, Jungkook almost always loses before the game even begins. Every time Jimin says, Come on, fight me. Jungkook bursts into laughter instantly. The phrase is simple, yet somehow sounds irresistibly funny and adorable when it comes from Jimin. What's even sweeter is that Jungkook keeps imitating the way Jimin says it, on the way back, between laughs, all the way until they return to their lodging. There's an unforced warmth there. Admiration that appears without planning. Somewhere between fondness and helplessness, Jungkook gives in to the little things that only Jimin has: spontaneous bravery, that distinctive tone of voice, and a way of making the world feel lighter. These are the small things that often pass by unnoticed on screen. Jungkook immediately offering to hold the camera while Jimin arranges the candles. Jimin making sure Jungkook's wish candle is lit first. Jungkook turning the camera without being asked so Jimin can start recording right away. No grand dialogue. No dramatic gestures. Just attention that has become habit. For those who are attentive, this is their love language. Not the kind that is announced, but the kind that grows from long companionship and mutual understanding. They don't try to look sweet. They simply are, naturally. There is also a brief moment when they step out of a restaurant in Vietnam. The staff line up neatly, seeing them off with polite smiles. No cheers. No commotion. Yet their steps feel closer, the atmosphere warmer. Without words, everyone present becomes a silent witness to a closeness that is real. And when night falls, when the world slows down and defenses are lowered, that's when the most honest moments emerge. In the dimly lit room, they are seen lying on the same bed. Jimin is busy with his phone. Jungkook moves closer, narrowing a distance that is already almost non-existent. Spontaneously, he pulls Jimin closer. An arm wrapped around that slim waist is not a grand gesture, but an embrace that says, "I'm here." Was there a kiss? The camera doesn't confirm it. And that is precisely where its power lies. Because not everything needs to be shown to be felt. In the end, Jikook has always been about the little things. About attention that is not announced. Closeness that is not displayed. Togetherness that does not demand explanation. They don't need to prove anything. Being themselves is enough. And perhaps that is where their beauty truly lies. In quiet moments that are almost missed, yet linger the longest. In an intimacy that doesn't shout, but whispers, and somehow sounds far stronger. See you in the next video. Stay with Jikook Moments, where quiet intimacy speaks the loudest.